My original plan was to film the third trimester in one, like I have done for the first and the second trimester, but things have really started to pick up. And because I'm not sure about when the twins are going to come, I think that bi-weekly updates might be a bit better. So this is my update on weeks 27 to 29. I am entering into my 30th week now. So I wanted to give you guys an update of what has been happening over the last couple of weeks. So first things first is I'm a bit sick. I think I picked up this sickness from my son. It has kind of really made me really lethargic. Now I know getting sick when you're pregnant is not easy, but it is actually not easy. Like, it has been hard. I have been having to sleep, have naps in the day, which is something that kind of went away in my second trimester. I really had figured out that it's easier for me to just stay awake all day and have a good sleep at night than half the day with a nap. But for the last week and a half, I really just haven't been able to do that. At around 2-3 o'clock, I usually have to have a sleep for a few hours. That has kind of messed up my evening sleep, so I have been going to bed a bit later at night, maybe like 11-12 o'clock, midnight, just because I can't settle after sleeping in the day. So headaches have come back as a result of what I think I have is a cold. So I've been having headaches and a runny nose. Yeah, those are the main things: a headache, a runny nose, and I've been feeling just super tired. I have been feeling this way for probably like a week. I don't know how much longer I'm going to give it. I've been taking paracetamol, so I haven't been taking tons, maybe a paracetamol a day, because I feel like I'm just on the edge. Like, I'm on the edge of feeling really bad, but it's not sure if it wants to continue developing or not, which is a bit strange. So every day I've been going to sleep, waking up, hoping that it just goes, because it's not really doing anything other than making me feel really tired. So I don't feel 100%. I don't know if you guys can tell that I don't feel 100%, but that did kind of affect my ability to get videos out for you guys. I feel heavy, I feel bogged down, I feel tired, I feel like I don't really have energy to do much. And so that's unfortunate, because I had actually started to feel quite energetic. I was on a roll. I don't know if you guys could tell with all my videos and things like that. So it has been a bit disappointing that I've had to sit down, but for the last 2 weeks I definitely have had to sit down. I haven't been going to the gym. I haven't really been going anywhere, just staying in bed or on the sofa. I have had one midwife appointment, so I let them know that I've also been having hip pain. So I've always had hip pain from the first trimester, but it has really been bothering me more at night, and having to flip in the middle of the night, it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. I also have a very high bed. So as you guys probably know, I am quite tall, and my husband's very tall as well. So when we were looking for beds, it was like very high on my list that the bed had to be high. We actually got our bed made to be made higher, but I'm telling you, getting into that bed right now feels like I'm climbing Mount Everest. It feels so high. And I'm starting to think, what the hell was I thinking, getting a bed that is so high? I always feel like I'm partly falling off of the bed because I'm so heavy. I just can't manage to get all of my body onto the bed. So there have been a few occasions where I've had to have like an additional push to get on the bed, and getting comfortable has been really difficult. I have been still using my sleeping pillow, which has really been helping. But my hip pain has been really bothersome. It has been waking me up at night, and there doesn't really seem to be any way around it. So I let them know that I've been really bothered by that, and they have arranged for me to have a physiotherapy appointment. It is virtual, so I'm not really sure what they're going to do, but that is next week. So I'm going to have that appointment and see. Maybe it's virtual initially and they call you in afterwards, I'm not sure, but we're going to see how that goes. We also did talk a little bit about delivery options. So I had let her know that the doctor had let me know that she was not going to interfere in terms of inducing me if everything seemed to be going fine, and that is what I would prefer. The midwife said that it's more likely that there will be a suggestion of some kind of intervention if I go past 38 weeks, which kind of has me conflicted, because in one hand I'm like, I really don't want to be 40 weeks pregnant with twins. Like, I'd rather not, because I can only imagine the discomfort that I'm going to be in at 40 weeks with twins. However, I also don't want to bother the natural process. So if they want to stay in there for 40 weeks and they're happy in there and they're safe and etc, then I feel like bothering them so that they come out is not something that I really want to do either. So I kind of let her know that's how I was feeling, and that we'd kind of just take it as it came. So I do have an appointment with the obstetrician next week as well, and the midwife let me know that at that appointment we will be talking a bit more in depth about how that might happen. I also let them know that I don't really want to give birth on my back, and I guess that sounds really particular, but I really don't want to give birth on my back. So she was saying that one of the midwives will probably have to hold my stomach to hold the second baby so the second baby doesn't move. So that might not be possible. My experience has been, when I'm in labour, I kind of go into a haze, and really what my body and my mind is focused on is getting the babies out safely. So I'm sure they could probably put me on my head and I would give birth. You know, I'm going to do what I have to do. But if you're asking me what I would prefer is that you don't put me on my back. So I let her know that, and she said that might not necessarily be possible because they have to hold on to baby too, but they might be able to kind of lift my back up slightly. But that is something that I would have to speak to the obstetrician about. So we're going to see what she says, and hopefully she's open to that. I gave birth to my son. I started off in the bath, but then I got moved to a chair, and I quite liked that position of being set up in the chair. I think it was a chair that had like a hole in the middle so they could see everything that was happening. That was pretty, I quite enjoyed. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but I was quite comfortable in that position, because some of my concerns around labour and delivery are that with my son, I wasn't pushing in the right place, which also sounds weird, but I was pushing towards my bum, and what I realised is that I shouldn't have been. I should have been pushing towards the front. So it took me a bit of time and coaching from the midwife to kind of figure out where in my body I'm supposed to push in. And once I figured it out, it was really easy to get him out, but I wasted a lot of time pushing out of my bum and nothing happening. My concern about being on my back is that I don't want to spend time pushing in the wrong direction, and then that leads to me having to have extra support, or a cesarean or things like that, just because I can't figure out the spot. Whereas I feel like if I'm in the same position I was before, I know where I've got to push. I think that was like a week and a half ago. I was actually feeling okay, so I wasn't feeling unwell or anything like that, or I would have moved the appointment. But those were the main things that we spoke about. I also was supposed to have a scan at 24 weeks. That didn't happen. So I don't know if I mentioned to you guys before, but when I went to my 21-week scan, there was a conversation that the sonographers had around feeling like they could let me wait until 28 weeks to scan me again, but there had been a note put in by the obstetrician to scan me at 24 weeks. So basically to scan me once a month. The midwife appointment that I had before this midwife appointment, I did mention that to them, and they told me to go to the ultrasound desk and speak to them about making sure that I have a 24-week scan. I went there and she basically said like, I'm on a list and someone's going to get to me, and so I should just wait. So at that point, I think I was around 23 weeks and 6 days, or I was almost 24 weeks at that time. I didn't really want to make a fuss. The way that the reception's set out is that the desk is kind of forward, and then they've got a big gap because of COVID restrictions, and then you have to speak to them from like here. So I was pretty much shouting at her all of the information that I wanted to let her know, and then there were people behind me, so I just thought, okay, fine, I'll just leave it. But essentially I didn't have another scan until 28 weeks. That was the day after I had my appointment with my midwife, so I let her know, like, I think that they missed it, and the only reason why I wasn't concerned about it was that I feel the boys move all the time, so I didn't have any concerns. I didn't have any like discharge or bleeding or anything like that. So in between my 20-week and my 28-week scan, I didn't really have any concerns, but she let me know that if it happened again that I should let her know so that they can follow it up for me. So I did have an ultrasound appointment the day after the midwife appointment, which went well, and I was really excited to see them because I hadn't seen them in 8 weeks. So I went with my husband. I don't know that we got to take any footage, but if we did, I'll put it in here. If we didn't, then essentially what happened was we went to the midwife appointment, and all of the measuring that they did at the anatomy scan, they did again. So I don't remember that happening with my son, but they did let me know that that is something that they're going to do every time I go to an ultrasound. So they like measure their legs, measure the side of the head, measure their organs, all of that kind of stuff. So it wasn't as long as the anatomy scan. I think they were more cooperative as well. They were moving less, but it was still quite a long appointment. So they did measure them both, and they are still in the same position. So baby A is still head down and baby B is still transverse. So lying across underneath my rib cage. This is the position that they have been in since the first time I got scanned, and I have always felt like I've always had a feeling that they're not going to move, and I know that they can still move now. My feeling is that that's probably going to be the position that they're going to be in, but we will see. During the scan, they did put me to lie down flat on my back. The baby A, who's head down, she wasn't able to like get the measurement of his head properly because he's really low down. So she had to put me flat. I did start to feel lightheaded. So I would recommend, if any of you guys are going to twin pregnancy ultrasounds, to make sure that you eat and have something to drink before you go. I wasn't hungry, but I do think like the pressure of everything on me. They let us out of the room, and then they had to do all of the measuring and everything, I guess, on the paperwork. So we were out of the room probably for about 15 minutes, and then they called us back in. I was slightly worried by that because I don't think that is something that I experienced before. There was nothing to be concerned about. Everything was fine. We were given another scan of them. So that's twin A. And that's twin B. I expected the quality of the pictures to be a bit better. I don't know, I thought like as they get older it's probably easier to see them and all the details and stuff, but maybe not. So it is a bit blurry, but I am super happy to see them. They're so cute, and their side profile is like my son, so I'm really excited by that. They were also able to give me the size of them. Baby A is on the 61st percentile. So I don't know why, but I really expected them to be quite small because my son was on the 75th percentile when he was born. So I don't know, I expected them to be like on the 40th percentile or something like that, but no. And then baby 2 or baby B is on the 75th percentile. Before the last scan, all of the measurements that they were giving were in like ounces, and the only way I know I can like calculate or imagine ounces is in food. I couldn't really imagine them being ounces, but now they've moved into pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're actual humans. Like I know that they were always humans, but it's like that's something tangible that I can kind of imagine. So they're £2 each. Baby A is £2 13 ounces, so he's almost £3. B is £2 15 ounces. So that made me really happy as well, that they were healthy and like a size I can kind of imagine. It also explains why I feel like I'm just a slow moving bus. I don't know how else to explain it, but I'm like, that's at least almost £6 plus amniotic fluid and all of that other stuff that I'm dragging around with me. And at this point I could really tell. Before I started to feel unwell, I felt less like it, but feeling unwell together, I just feel like everything happens in slow motion. I can't move too fast. Like I literally sat down the other day and moved my head to the side too quickly and had to spend like 15 minutes recovering. So I'm hoping that this kind of lethargic, slow feeling kind of moves away from me. I would really, really appreciate that. So some of the naps that I have, I take on the sofa, just because my husband's working from home and sometimes I want to spend some time with him, and being in the bedroom can be quite isolating as well. So sometimes I go and sit in there with him and I end up falling asleep, and I've found that the pressure on my hips feels less so than when I'm sleeping on the bed. So I've told him that I might have to spend maybe a night or two on the sofa just to kind of get the pressure off of my hips. During the day it's fine, you know, I wear my belly band and for the most part I don't feel any pain at my hips, but lying on my hips, just the pressure is just really, really uncomfortable. I mentioned that they move a lot. I've created a little bond, and I feel a bit sorry for baby A, because he's head down. I feel a lot of like his fingers and his feet movements, and I think his bum is at my side. Trying to get the sonographer to kind of explain to me what way they were facing so I could kind of figure out what I'm feeling. But I think I feel his bum at the side. But baby B, his head is right like under my breast hair. And when I have a shower, he kind of moves and wriggles around, and so I'm able to kind of stroke his head. So we have like a head stroking routine going on, me and baby B. So I'm really trying to kind of feel for baby A when I can and give him cuddles. They are very, very active, more active than my son was, and that is lovely. It's great. It's lovely to feel them. It's probably one of the main things about pregnancy that I'm going to miss when they come. But it is also so very uncomfortable. Baby B in particular really lets me know when he is sick and tired of me leaning on him, which is most of the time. We have started shopping, and I think I should have a baby shopping haul up already. If not, then there's one coming. I'm also going to be doing a video on baby gear, because finding a twin cot is something that I guess nobody's ever thought of, or not many people want to do. So we've had a bit of like cot negotiations going on, because we are trying to fit sleeping space for them both in quite a small area. So next week I have my physiotherapy appointment. I was also supposed to have my glucose test that I had to move. I also have been invited to like a baby class. I have my obstetrics appointment scheduled for next week, my glucose test scheduled for next week, baby class scheduled for next week, and physiotherapy. I have been tempted, especially this week, to take a few days off just because I am so tired. 2 to 3 weeks, they asked me to stay a little bit longer, so I've got a few more weeks left at work, but I do have somebody to hand over to now, so I'm starting to kind of dial down a bit, which is exciting. I'm so excited to meet my boys. I'm so excited to meet them. It's definitely feeling more real now. I have also arranged for somebody to come and clean all of the carpets and the sofa. I think that's happening at week 33. Somebody's gonna come. I have considered getting somebody to come and clean the oven and things like that, but I might be able to bribe family to to help me with that. I know I mentioned wanting to food prep for postpartum. That is still in the back of my mind somewhere, but our freezer is full, so that's probably a conversation I'm going to have with my husband about. Maybe even if we can just empty one drawer, I might be able to get maybe 8 meals in there. So that's a conversation also to have. And house buying is also kind of like in the back of my head here, because as you guys know, we had to put that on hold for now, but I have decided that basically as soon as they come, or at least as soon as we're in a routine and they're here, that we will start house hunting again, and hoping to be in a house by the new year. I am extremely uncomfortable, but I'm also very excited by the idea that I'm not going to be uncomfortable for much longer. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I am going to do another update on week 30 to 32, just because it was really quiet for a long time, and now things definitely seem to be picking up. And of course, with twins, you never know when they're going to come, so I don't want to leave it so late waiting for the 3rd trimester to be coming to an end to give you an update that I end up in labor and I'm not able to do that for you guys. Again, I forgot to show you guys my bump. See my bump? Please. I don't have pants on, so I'm trying to show you guys what I can without flashing you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you want to see how my second trimester went, you can check that out here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.